exploring unknown tech, decoding future unicorns. Welcome to Product X. Using the sharp intuition of capital and the hardcore logic of an architect to help you catch the next big event in the global tech sphere. Hello everyone, I'm Rena. Today, we're diving into a fascinating fintech story. CentSight just announced a $1.5 million pre-seed financing round on June 26, 2026, coinciding with their official product launch. But here's the twist. This startup wasn't found in the wild. It was personally built from zero by Mudita Venture Partners' internal venture studio, Mudita Studios. Their mission: provide CFO-level financial insights to SMBs that can't afford a real CFO. Vivian, want to kick us off?
Hey Rena, thanks for having me. I'm Vivian, a senior angel investor at PreAngel Fund, and I've been watching the venture studio space for years. This CentSight deal is honestly one of the most interesting examples I've seen recently of a fund getting directly involved in building a company, so I'm excited to dig in.
Nolan, over to you.
Hey everyone, I'm Nolan. I used to lead architecture at a major Silicon Valley tech company. When I saw what CentSight was attempting on the technical side, I had to join the conversation. This isn't just another AI wrapper, and I want to explain why.
So let's get into it. Vivian, normally VCs are hunters scanning the market for deals. Why would Mudita switch gears and become a farmer, planting and nurturing a company themselves? What's the financial logic behind this venture studio move?
Yeah, the venture studio model is really having a moment right now. The core reason is that Mudita saw a brutally clear pain point. Millions of US SMBs cannot afford a $200,000 a year CFO, so they settle for fractional CFOs costing $3,000 to $5,000 monthly. That's a massive arbitrage. Turn that $5,000 service into a $199 SaaS subscription, and you've got a market of millions. Plus, the $1.5 million isn't just cash. It comes with legal, GTM support, and even their first batch of seed clients. They basically removed the risk of finding product market fit altogether.
Right, and that's smart from a technical standpoint too. When you build in-house, you can design the data architecture from day one. SMB financial data is a mess. Bank data via Plaid, accounting data from QuickBooks, all in different formats. If you acquire a company later and try to retrofit that, it's a nightmare. Mudita avoiding that technical debt is huge.
Okay, so the business case is clear. But Nolan, here's my concern: AI models hallucinate. If a CFO tool hallucinates an extra zero in cash flow projections, a small business could make a catastrophic decision. How does CentSight actually guarantee financial accuracy at the DeetSun?
You nailed the biggest risk. CentSight doesn't just hook ChatGPT up to a bank API. That would be a disaster. Their architecture has two layers: a deterministic data engine and an AI interaction layer on top. First, traditional financial algorithms crunch the actual numbers. They calculate exactly when cash flow will hit a deficit, down to the dollar and date. Then, and only then, that deterministic result gets fed to the LLM. The AI's job is purely to translate those numbers into natural language advice, like a CFO would explain it. Algorithms do the math, AI does the talking. That's how they eliminate hallucinations.
Honestly, that architecture is what makes the business model viable. SMB owners trust these numbers to make payroll decisions. If the AI fabricates a forecast, trust is dead forever. The fact that CentSight understood this from the start shows they weren't just building a product, they were building trust.
Let's talk about the moat. Vivian, what's protecting CentSight from competitors copying this idea?
The moat is in the data normalization hell. Every small business categorizes expenses differently. One owner puts Uber under travel, another under miscellaneous. CentSight's machine learning maps all those chaotic ledgers onto a standardized financial model. That takes months of data delay to perfect. And once they achieve one-click QuickBooks authorization, 5-minute financial health report, that zero cold start experience becomes their conversion weapon. Nobody wants to spend weeks onboarding a new finance tool.
I'd add that the long-term technical challenge is the multimodal document processing. Right now, they're handling structured data from bank APIs. But as SMBs grow, they'll need the system to parse PDF contracts, vendor invoices, all that unstructured stuff. Maintaining 99.9% accuracy across that long tail will determine whether they stay a handy dashboard or become a true strategic AI CFO.
Quick example on that point, Nolan. You mentioned last week some startup hitting a wall with invoice processing.
Yeah, exactly. I worked with a company last year that tried to automate accounts payable. They got the bank feeds working in 2 weeks. Processing vendor invoices? 8 months of pain. Every vendor has a different PDF format. Some are scanned images, some are handwritten. That's the swamp CentSight will eventually have to wade into.
Vivian, one more question before we wrap this section. The $1.5 million price tag. Is that enough to actually launch and get traction? Or is this just a fancy incubator announcement?
That's the beauty of the venture studio model. It's enough because it's not just money. It's a complete operating infrastructure. They don't have to rent an office, hire a lawyer from scratch, or figure out go to market from zero. This is a lean launch with deep pockets backing it. Will they need more capital later? Probably. But this round buys them enough runway and credibility to prove the model works.
All right, let's do a quick lightning round. First question, biggest surprise in the CentSight pitch deck?
The $199 price point. That's aggressive enough to disrupt fractional CFOs, but high enough to build a real business.
For me, it's the Plaid and QuickBooks integration depth. Most startups just scrape. They're doing real-time bidirectional sync.
Second, biggest risk factor?
Trust. One high-profile financial error, and SMBs will run back to human CFOs.
Customer acquisition costs. Convincing cheap SMBs to pay for something they used to do with spreadsheets is still hard.
Third hot take, will AI replace human CFOs entirely?
Not entirely. For large enterprises, never. For SMBs, yes, within 5 years for 80% of financial decisions.
I agree, but with a caveat. The AI will be the tool. The human will still be the decision maker. The title might change, but someone still signs the checks.
Fourth, if you could change one thing about CentSight's strategy, what would it be?
I'd push them to add tax compliance faster. That's the next biggest pain point after cash flow.
I'd say open up the API to accountants. Let them build on top of the platform. That's how you get network effects.
Last one, prediction for SMB Fintech in 2027?
3 major players will emerge. Consolidation starts.
And 5 new startups will try to copy CentSight's architecture and fail at the data normalization part.
Vivian, give us a one-sentence summary of today's conversation.
The venture studio model let Mudita skip the hunting phase and go straight to farming a company. And CentSight's architecture proves you can actually build trustworthy AI for financial decisions if you keep the humans and machines in their proper lanes.
Nolan, your one sentence.
The technical moat is real. The deterministic engine plus quantitative RAG approach isn't something a weekend hacker can replicate, but the real battle will be handling unstructured documents as SMBs scale.
Thanks to Vivian for breaking down the capital and commercial logic, and Nolan for the hardcore architecture breakdown. That's all for today's Product X. If you want to catch the next episode, hit subscribe and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time.